What's up, y'all? So right now, I would just want to first off saying Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. I hope y'all are with your family and you're just enjoying your time. But this morning, I had like the greatest time with God like ever, of like all time. And the part that really like gets me is just how like Jesus really like predicted this like a thousand years before it even happened. But today I was reading Psalms 22, and the first verse says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And when I read that scripture, that made me think that's exactly what Jesus said. So if you look at Matthew 27, and let me find the scripture for you real quick. It says, where he says it. Yeah, he says in verse 46, it says, he says like, "Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani," which basically means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And like, and basically for him to say the exact same thing that was in Psalms 22, that was like crazy work to me. So then I kept on reading Psalms, and then I read in verse 7, it says, verse 7 through 8, it says, "All those who mock me, they hurl insults, shaking their heads. He trusts in the Lord, they say. Let the Lord rescue him. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him." And the crazy part about this is, if you look in verse 47 in that scripture, it says, in Matthew, it says, and some of the bystanders hearing it said, "This man is calling Elijah." And some of them at once ran and took us. But let me see. Yeah, it said he was calling Elijah, and basically they were like hurling insults at him, saying like, "Oh, this is if he." Like other versions, they're basically saying how if this man is truly God, he'll get himself down from there. That and basically like all this stuff like that, and that also is another reference. And then that isn't even enough. Is that in verse 15 of Psalms 22, it says, "My mouth is dried up like a potter's head, and my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You lay me in the dust of death." And if you look in Matthew, it says, where does it say? In verse 48, it says, "And one of them once ran and took a sponge, filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed, and gave it to him to drink." And this is basically them basically giving Jesus a drink, because in other versions it says how he said he was thirsty. And that's another reference, bro. Like, you can't make this up. And then, let me look at this. And then the other part that really like gets me is in verse 17. It was saying how in Psalm 22 it says, all my bones are on display. People stare and gloat over me. They divide my clothes among them and cast lots for my garment. But you, Lord, do not be far from me. You are my strength. Come quickly to help me. And the part that really got me there is that also in the Gospels it mentions how they divided, when Jesus was on the cross, they divided his clothes and basically casted lots. Or yeah, they casted lots on his clothes, like basically divided his clothes and stuff like that. And that's like amazing cross references. And we have to remember that in Psalms 22, this is written in like 1010 or like 970 BC. And the time where Jesus died is 33 AD, which basically means that Psalms were written like 1,000 years before Jesus even was on this earth. And for them to basically predict, for this to basically be like reference 1,000 years before it even happened, is crazy work. And the part that at the end is saying, "All the rich of the earth will feast and worship. All those who go down to the dust will kneel before him. Those who cannot keep themselves alive, posterity will serve him. Future generations will be told about the Lord. They will proclaim his righteousness, declaring to a people yet unborn, he has done it." And the part about that is that posterity basically means like future generations. So it's basically saying that future generations will be told about the Lord and proclaiming that Jesus died and that said he has done it. And by he has done it, he's meaning how Jesus was on earth, he died for us, and he rose again. And we just have to remember on this Thanksgiving that Jesus did do this, that he did die for us, and he did raise up for the dead to save us. So if you're listening to this, this is your opportunity to go after the Lord, to seek him, find him. And fortunately, what I do is that I do Bible studies with men, and then we have women who do Bible studies with women. So this would be a great opportunity to get to know the Lord, to do Bible studies, and just to get to know Him more and who He truly is. And I just leave this with y'all. So I just hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and see y'all later.